Hello and welcome to the Cryptocurrency News Channel. Now, the SEC and Gary Gensler, the mighty Gary Gensler, has made a statement that most cryptos are securities. And, a lot of people are up in arms about that. But if you actually look at the way the original securities law, I think, was written, what he says isn't actually too far off base. And that's why I think digital assets need the laws kind of rewritten specifically for digital assets. And I'll talk a little bit about that why later. Let's actually look at the investments that are digital assets right now, and why I think most of them would actually fall under the security precursor. That includes Ethereum, that includes XRP, that includes VeChain, that includes all those coins that I've actually invested in. So the thing is, like, a lot of people get caught up in this investment contract saying, I didn't buy this. I knew it wasn't an investment contract. I knew it wasn't an investment in X company when I bought it. That might be all well and true. Actually, no, I don't really believe you when you say that because I'm pretty sure you bought it as an investment. I've seen your post on the forums where like, oh, I'm going to generate generational wealth with this cryptocurrency, or I'm waiting for my XRP to go up to $1,000. I'm waiting for my Ethereum to go up to $20,000 this bull run. So just by those statements, I know that you see it as an investment. Don't BS me. I've seen your posts on forums. I know you bought those as an investment. And I'm sure the original investors knew that, either Ripple or Ethereum was selling their coin to raise money to fund their operations. And the people that bought them had expectations of profit. And more so, they knew that their expectations of profit were going to depend on what the company did in the future to actually meet, to make their coin go up. So yes, whether it's like an official investment contract or not, the Supreme Court has actually indicated before that it's willing to just look past kind of like the paperwork and look at the spirit of the agreement. And I believe if you really look at the spirit of the investment for any cryptocurrency besides Bitcoin, you will actually see that it is actually an investment contract. Well, an investment for most people. And people bought it knowing it was investment. You can easily tell by going to any Reddit, any Twitter, or any online forum and looking at the statements. They're all going to say, I am buying this to generate generational wealth, or I am buying this because I expect my $5 investment to go to $1,000, or I expect, Ethereum to go up to $20,000 by the end of this bull run. I expect XRP to be $100 by the end of this bull run. Those statements solidly define that you bought the coin as investment. Yes, you might actually use some of the coin to actually transfer a little bit of money. I do sometimes with VeChain, with Tron, with XRP. But for the most part, I buy those coins. Like 99.9% of the time, I buy those coins as bags for an investment. And I'm pretty sure every single person that watches this channel is in the same boat as that. So don't try to BS me on that. I know you bought it as an investment. Whether there was an actual contract or not, you bought it as an investment and you knew that the price of the coin, aside if you bought like Shiba Inu or something, it might have just been a pump and dump, and that's another thing altogether that has to do with like fraud and rug pulls and all that. Aside from those, you knew you bought it as an investment, and your investment depended on the parent company, whether it's the Ethereum Foundation, Ripple the company, the VeChain Foundation, or the Cardano Foundation. It depended on what they did to spree adoption for your investment in the future. So it is kind of like, it is an investment, whether there's a contract or not. It is kind of a common enterprise because you depend on them. And yeah, we already covered that. You depend on them for like a third party. So I think like if people are trying to like just argue that it's not like it's not like a security on that fashion, I think a lot of it is actually BS. And that's why I think the securities laws need to be rewritten for cryptocurrencies. Now, the thing is like the rewriting of the law actually needs to focus on some utility. Now, you can't just be like, oh, if they say their coin has utility, then it's not a security at all. No, that's stupid because anyone can BS up any kind of excuse for utility, which may or may not actually exist. We've seen plenty of rug pulls, and I'm pretty sure that anyone with half a brain can say that, oh yeah, of course, my coin has utility, therefore because of XX, and that's because of not security. There needs to be strict rules for that, actually. I would say that like any cryptocurrency that exists right now, you actually need to give them leeway. You actually need to give them a long grace period where they can actually prove that utility from the time right now. But I think like it needs to be maybe like in the future, within maybe like 4 or 5 years, you need to prove that your coin actually has X percentage amount of utility, X percentage amount of use. And if you can prove that, then it won't be a security. And of course, there's going to be heavy investigations into that. But if you can't do it by X time period, then it would actually be considered a security. Because a lot of companies are just selling their coin to raise money, so they don't actually have to sell shares of the company. So in turn, they are kind of screwing the investor, because what they're really doing is they want to raise money from you without actually giving a share to you of their company. And that obviously kind of sucks for the investor. So there does need to be protections around that, because essentially they're just using this in place of stocks of the company, where they would actually still retain 100% of the company, but they get your money. So that's a big problem, if they're actually allowed to do that willy-nilly, and there's like no constraints on that. So I do actually think the securities laws actually need to be changed. Yes, I do actually believe that most coins besides Bitcoin, including Ethereum, are securities. Bitcoin, they never actually had an ICO. They never really had any reoccurring coin sales. Yet there was a lot of mining in the beginning, but they didn't really like ICO or sell to any investors. And the thing is, like, Bitcoin actually, when it was created, it wasn't really created for the investment purpose. It was actually created for a peer-to-peer money system. It eventually developed into a lot of investments for certain people, but at the beginning, it was not created for that. So Bitcoin's kind of an exception, but I don't really believe that argument for any other coin, essentially. That includes VeChain, that includes Cardano, that includes XRP, that includes Ethereum, and that includes all those other things that I've mentioned or invested in. I do believe they fall in the bucket of securities based on the law that's there right now. And that's why I really think that the courts need to look at the law and kind of like interpret that we actually kind of like need a new set of rules because the regulations aren't clear. A small note about the SEC. A lot of like people are drawing like conclusion about the SEC. Like there's like backlinks and backdoor like backhanded agreements into this and that. I personally don't think so. I actually think it's very simple. The SEC's any acting SEC chair, their tone might completely change after they leave the SEC. But while they're actually working for the SEC, their goal is actually to prosecute as many cases as possible to make as much money as possible for the SEC to fund and expand their agency. That's basically why they're going after all these cases, why they're trying not to lose these cases, and why they're trying to set tough precedents for a lot of these cases, including the Ripple case and all these other cases that are actually coming up. They're trying to set precedents where they can actually sue other projects for money to fund themselves and expand their agency, essentially. So that's kind of where I have it right now. I do actually believe that most tokens are probably securities based on the current law, and I do believe the current law needs to be changed to accommodate for this new technology sector. So let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.